It's the one only, the Sputnik, bringing you guys another gameplay commentary. This is Elder Scrolls Online, and I was supposed to do this discussion about the racial balance changes for update 21 in a live stream, but I fucking fell asleep, man. I fell asleep at like 8 o'clock, and I just woke up. It's 2:19 a.m. Don't you hate when you fall asleep at a time when you're not supposed to be falling asleep, and then you wake up and your sleep pattern is all fucked up? That's what's happening right now. So in order to kind of do something while that's happening, let's just discuss this. And as always, when the ZeniMax Online Studios decide to make changes, they tend to change things that just should not be changed, right? For example, the change to Dark Deal, regardless of what people think, if it's good or if it's bad, no one really wanted that to happen. No one said, hey, there you go, there goes a stam sork just damaging things and destroying shit. You know, no one said that, right? I mean, if you really wanted to make some kind of changes, one would deal with the issues in terms of performance, and the fact that we have less players playing the game, and we still have these performance issues. And just give us an update. Give us a performance update, right? Like the same way we think. What's his name? I think he left, right? You have like these teams for PvE and PvP. Like, introduce us to the teams that deal with performance and how they approach it. The same way you have these discussions about all of the various changes in ESO. Let's discuss performance and hey, at this particular time is the best time for you to play because the servers there's less strain on the servers. Like all of these things, I think that should be something we should discuss. But hey, I am not Gilliam the Rogue. Greetings. Right? We got a PvE player who has some theories about things, right? We all have theories, but when we apply them, I think that's where those things matter, right? And as far as I'm concerned, I honestly don't think Gilliam is qualified to make decisions about PvP. Now, PvE is a different story, and just general discussions about individual weapon class, weapon classes and things of that nature. I think he's qualified to do it. But when it comes to the core of PvP, I honestly don't think this guy is qualified to make those decisions, nor is he a PvP player. I've seen him in Battlegrounds, and everything he said, in theory, and you apply it, and then apply that to BGs or some kind of PvP environment, he can't hang. But anyway, let's like, you can't talk about racial balance changes without talking about the reason why some some passives for particular races are better than others, right? So let's go to the obvious one. Let's compare it, right? So let's go to an Argonian. And the way I see the various passives, I see them in terms of the ones that are always active, right? The reason I chose an Argonian like 2 years ago, a heavy armor Argonian, it was because of the changes with Morrowind, right? You had less resources, healing at that time. When it comes to ZOS, they believe healing was through the roof, and they really wanted to to kind of curb that. For example, with major mending for DKs, Igneous went from 8 seconds. What was it, like 8 seconds to then 3 seconds, right? They really went into. It took away major mending from Templars. They really wanted to prevent those things from happening. They wanted to prevent people from healing. So that's why you saw them. If you go to the CP, Befoul, you can pump 100. You can pump 10 points into it, and it said like 70%. So they heavily went after not only resources but how people healed, and to combat that, not only did Argonians offer the healing that you needed, they also offered a way to kind of mitigate in-cap. At that, Nightblades are always an issue because they have major defile on incapacitating strike, right? And so the two reasons I chose an Argonian wasn't for the potion passive, right? The potion passive was just a byproduct of choosing the class. I chose the class because of the healing done and the healing received, as well as the disease resistance, right? The 3% and the 9% max health, and the potion passive, those are all things that were benefits, right? So with this, along with the 8% that I got from heavy, and then you pumped 75 points into blessed, and then you pump some points into healing received, and then Nightblade's siphoning passive also gave them you got 4% into healing received, and then if you used the DPS that Magica uses, I forget, you got it in the past. You got an additional 8%. So all of those things stacked, along with I would use Dawnbreaker, the one that gave 8% more damage. I use that as my back bar because, as you know, damage also increases your heal, and so that's what I went with. So I had a tooltip at that time of 19k for my vigor, and that didn't take into account all of the the healing receives and the healing done. So that was the reason why I chose an Argonian, not because it can swim really fast in water, but those were the reasons to combat the changes that Morrowind brought, right? And all of these passives are active at all times. See, if ZeniMax Online Studios wanted to really balance these classes and these passives, these racial passives, what they have to do is have this approach, and specifically when it comes to PvP, make the passives active, right? For example, I give you a perfect example of some passives that just really, they make absolutely, to me, they make I don't think they make any sense, right? For example, as an Imperial, right? These are two active passives, right? But this one, if you're in PvP, you have to attack to get this passive, versus being an Argonian. Let me go to Nord, right? This one right here, your melee attacks have a 10% chance to restore 2% of your max health, right? And then when you go to the rank 3, your melee attacks have a 10% chance to restore 6% of your max health. Now, I'm speaking solely on PvP. Now, dueling might be a little bit different, but as an Argonian, as an Imperial, this fifth passive is not performing well, because you have to attack in order to get it. And in PvP, if you're outnumbered, a vast majority of your time is spent being defensive. So this passive is not up as much as you want it to be up compared to if you were a Nord, right? All of Nord's passives are constantly active, right? Increases damage reduction by 6%. That's a passive that's constantly active. You got the cold resistance. Permafrost is devastating. You have max health. You have max stam. Like, all of these things are always active. There's a reason I no longer use a red guard, because I'm in the business of being outnumbered. And they've severely nerfed Adrenaline Rush, right? Adrenaline Rush used to be something that was so good that you can bypass that whole notion that you're defensive most of the time. Because these two passives, acceleration and conditioning, they're active all the time. But this passive is not. So you have 2 out of 3 passives. So you have a 66% uptime for a majority of this, but this is not up at all, right? This is up maybe 10%, because in Cyrodiil, like, these two passives are not active as often as possible. I think they should be active 100% of the time. So do it the same way you do Constitution. When you're being attacked, I mean, it won't be up 100%, but it'll be up a lot more compared to if it's the way it is now, where you have to attack in order to get these passes. And that's why I think some classes some racial passives outperform others, and that's where I think they need to really make some changes. For example, like this stealthy passive, right? It's only, to me, applicable to, it's only beneficial to Nightblades. And if you look at where's Breton at? Not Breton. You look at, the Wood Elf. That's what I was thinking. I'm so stupid. Like, this passive can only see like a decent uptime with a Nightblade. Reduce your detection and stealth by 3%. Increase damage done while in stealth by 10%. So you have these two passives that are constantly up, but then you have this one that's not. So that's the thing. You have an Argonian, which you can play multiple. You can play Magicka and Stamina. Everything here is constantly up. Even here, you have to be attacking in order to get this, right? But this is constantly up. Breton, their passives are constantly up. I think this is a really good passive. This is not up, so you have 2 out of 3 that's not up. This is constantly up, but yet again, this is you have to attack in order to get this. But as a Nord, like, these passives are always up, right? Regardless of being offensive or defensive, they're always up. I mean, some parts of this, some parts, but this portion where it says increases your damage and melee attacks by 3%. Even this is not up a majority of the time, because, like I said, when you're fighting, when you go offensive, for the most part, you go offensive when you feel comfortable that, hey, I can go offensive and I won't get bursted. So a majority of your time when these passives should be active is when you're under defense. But you have a lot of them that just, they're not up, like the Red Diamond, Adrenaline Rush, some parts of Swift Warrior. Rugged is always up. Carnage, you have to attack. So I think they should do something to kind of have these passives to be, allow these racial passives to be active at all times. And then you'll see a more diverse approach to choosing these, racial classes. But that's my take on it. So let's go to the proposed changes. Gilliam, and he says, greetings. Today the combat team will be showing an early glimpse of the racial changes for update 21 coming to PTS next week. We'll discuss the reasoning behind why we targeted racial passives, our goals with the rework, and how some of the goals were met. As always, we'll be closely monitoring this thread, and I'm very excited to hear your feedback on the matter. Note that we'll be posting this on the German and French forums as well in the next day or two. All right. The problem space. Okay. Ooh, the problem space. Trying to be so intellectual, my friend. Below are the higher level reasoning on why. Higher level reasoning. Whew, my gosh. On why we decided to move toward reworking many of the racial changes for update 21 and explanations of them to help understand their impact. Yes. All right. So right now there are a lack of effective options for picking your race class combination. Now I kind of discussed why that is. I doubt ZeniMax Online Studios and Gilliam have that opinion of, hey, you should have these there's some racial passives that are not active at all times compared to others. For example, you got Nord and Argonians where their passives are constantly active. It's beneficial regardless of you being offensive or defensive, right? This is mainly due to the fact that many of our racial bonuses are percent increase of stats, not the reason, rather than flat ones. Okay, this means races that provide a bonus to a stat that you didn't focus into gave very little tangible impact. Now you have to take that with a grain of salt, right? Yes, the percent increase in terms of health, those changes. The more health you have, the better you can pull from those percentages. But that's not the reason, right? I honestly don't think that's the reason. The reason, I think, is what I mentioned earlier. So many racial bonuses do not have universal applicability. Oof. Many bonuses provide from races had narrow application and requirements, such as specific damage types or proc conditions. For example, orcs have a damage bonus that only applied to melee attacks instead of all physical attacks. Okay, I get that. I get it. But it still doesn't solve the issue with, like they're focusing on that part. Applicability. They're focusing on that part. But like I said, that's not up as often as possible. It should be up at least 90%, but it's not, because in Cyrodiil, a majority of your time is spent on the defense, especially if you're outnumbered. I'm speaking from the standpoint of being outnumbered, and the reason I'm saying that is because the people who are in these massive groups, they're not focused on these things. Like, these specific things are irrelevant to them, right? Their focus is to be as tanky and have as much health as possible, because if you have 10 people hitting you with light attacks and crowd control and ultimates, like, these specific things don't apply to them. The way for you, the best way for you to see where it applies is when you're dealing with outnumbered situations and also duels. So not every race provides a completely unique gameplay element. Here they go with this uniqueness, right? Some races currently provide small unique bonuses such as immunity to specific status effects or snaking, but not every race has something of this manner. On top of this, some of the larger, more defining passives were not comparable in terms of impact. For instance, compare the Argonian resourceful passes to Imperial Red Diamond. Here again, they're missing the point. But anyway, they're missing the point. The reason Red Diamond is not, and then you got to go to the lore, but the reason Red Diamond is not as impactful as the Argonians, quick to mend, is because it's not up at all times. They have to find some way to make that happen, but it doesn't. Some races provide far more mathematical combat power than others. Now, this is just jargon right there. Right? That's all it is. It's jargon. Essentially, like, they're targeting Argonians. That's pretty much it. Like, some races provide far more mathematical combat power than others. Okay. The delta between some races is noticeably high, leaving some races feeling left behind while others feel too good to pass up from a combat perspective. Now, the reason people choose Argonians, there are various reasons, but one of the main one is for the passives, for the potion passive, because with the changes to Morrowind, resource management became an issue. Now they've subsequently made changes, so now resource management is becoming a little bit better, and they've not addressed the power creep. They've not done so. So you just have to keep that in mind. They've not addressed it. And people choose Argonians because it's the perfect class that you can either go Magicka or Stamina. To summarize, we decided to focus more on racial balance this update because racial choice was one of the larger outliers. Okay. To have a core mantra of the game, freedom. Okay, freedom. We wanted to expand the horizon for choice and present players with a self-reflecting question. So, man, this guy is philosophical, my friend. Of what is my playstyle or ideal build? And therein lies the issue. Everything they just said prior to this goes counter to what this is. What is my playstyle or ideal build? Now, if they really wanted to focus on that approach, they would not have this kind of lopsided approach to Magicka compared to STEM. Right? They would not have nerfed heavy. They would have not have, drastically changed shields. Right? They wouldn't have done those things. They would have made adjustments. Right? Heavy definitely needed some changes. They would not have kept incapacitating strike the way it is. They would have went back to the way it was. If your health is lower than the other person, you get the stun. So right, it's forcing you to be. If you really want to get that stun, your health has to be lower than that person. Right? It's an incapacitating strike. It's anyway, man. Because freedom is important, but if your overall goal is to essentially, because of the math, some classes are out, or some racial passives are, outperforming others, then just do what I suggested. Buff the other ones. Why nerf other things? Buff. That's the thing I can never understand. I know I'm getting to the changes. Like, why don't they, instead of nerf to get everything, to an equal medium, why not buff? If something is not performing well, buff it, right? Heavy wasn't, in the past, heavy was not performing well, so they buffed it, right? Players are using heavy. You had a variety of things going on. Well, as a matter of fact, everybody started using heavy, and that's where you would make the adjustment. but they just completely kill that playstyle, right? That defensive turn and burn the player, right? You start off with 0 spell or weapon damage, and then throughout the fight, you get more, and then you can burn a player. And that's a playstyle that's now frowned upon, right? Look at the people going at Fury. The only match like Stam along with, Bone Pirate that every Stam class uses, because their magical counterparts are just so much better, right? Providing options to help reach that individual answer. Now, instead of having a single race that focuses almost exclusively on a specific playstyle, you can pick based on a personal level. That makes no sense. Essentially, they're saying Argonians are the jack of all trades, right? Like, so what this dude just said is just a lot of fluff to make you think they're trying to balance the races, but essentially they're coming after Argonians. But it's fine. Goal and process allow more effective options when picking a race for each role in tanking, healing, or damage dealing. Players see this, they go crazy. This goal was one of our largest targets for this pass. Since many playstyles had only one option for what was viable. Okay, so all right, this was done by converting percent bonuses into flat ones. So you need a comma right here. So they provide similar bonuses to all playstyle. Okay, I mean, I see that. That's fine. So no longer, I'll keep it to myself. Please note that these flat values will now scale with other percent modifiers, so there will be less of a delta between bills. We also expanded many of the interactions and proc conditions for the passives, so more bills could engage with them and allowed for improved diversity. 2, equalize the overall power that each race provides by using our set bonus efficiency system, which compares the total amount of power that a bonus provides under equal terms. So I think, yeah, that makes sense, right? You want races to be unique, but also be able to be competitive. When we were balancing numerical bonuses, this is our general procedure. With the values you see, the system works by looking at the total power a bonus provides and comparing it to a bonus from a 2 to 4 item set. And that's a lot of things people don't get, right? Like when you look at a set, you look to see if the 2 to 4 is competitive, right? The 5th piece is what you look for, but you also want to see if something is competitive. For example, if we have 2k stamina, we would compare that to a 2-piece value of stamina, which is 1096. The final result will be 2000 divided by 1096, which is 1.82 set bonus efficiency. We did this for each bonus a race provides, so they would all be roughly equal in the power they provide. Okay, I get it. We decided to find a healthy standard for total racial power provided and use that budget. Roughly 6.5 set bonuses. Okay, for the power that each passive would grant, we used the previous version of Redguard and Altmer as our target goal. Note that some of our hybrid races will be slightly higher value since their power is divided. Most of the races receive buffs to reach this figure. Okay, so I know you guys just want to go through things, but let's continue here. Retain and enhance the unique feeling and gameplay patterns that each race allows. Every race will now have a different way to engage with the game. This is either a new, small but unique bonus or an improvement to their core passive. See that? An improvement to their core passives. Now, when we go to these changes, let's hope this is an improvement rather than a demotion. Note that the smaller bonuses are not meant to work with every build, since these are meant to be more for flavor. I don't know what that means. Flavor what? I don't get it, right? Right? Your playstyle varies, but you don't have that. It's not on this massive spectrum. Either you're defensive, offensive, or you're in between, right? But anyway, and then that in between can have a spectrum, but it's not crazy. It doesn't span like miles. So this flavor, like all these words are very subjective, like flavor and freedom, and playstyle is subjective, but I like that. Improve the sense of progression that the racial passive provide when leveling up. Okay. We want each race to have a similar rate of gaining power as you level up. And as such, we've restructured the unlock order of some passives. No one really wanted that. I don't get that. Less powerful passives will unlock first, while the larger, more defining ones, I thought that was the case, will unlock at later levels. Note that we'll be refunding all of your racial skill points if you've already unlocked these passives. You will not. Why can't these guys just, with new updates, just give us a free, just reset everything? I don't get it. You will not need to unlock them again on characters you've already obtained them on. Okay, achieved, and now 5, right? Achieve, and the 5th piece is supposed to be the most important, I'm assuming, right? Achieve the above goal while still obeying our rich and structured lore and storytelling. That's important, right? There's a reason why Argonians have that potion passive, right? They're supposed to be resourceful, right? Be down and out and then come back and fight. It's a slave class, right? Argonians are slaves, and that's the way they should be, resourceful and rugged. This was one of our main challenging but exciting tasks, as it gave us additional opportunities to work with other teams. We delved deep into our rich and established lore to make bonuses that highlight racial differences. This means that we didn't outright balance each race to be equal in every avenue of the game. Hold on one second. Hold on 1 second. What? Hold on 1 second. Equalize the overall power that each race provides by using our set bonus efficiency system, which compares the total amount of power that a bonus provides under equal terms. Now you look here. This means that we didn't outright balance each race to be equal in every avenue of the game, as there is a story to be told with how the races engage with the world around them. Okay, that makes no sense, but it's fine. Let's continue. Nords are well known for being hardier. Wow, okay. Races who can take a hit, while high elves are better at wielding magical spells. If we were to balance them to be equal in both, would lose the unique identities of these races. To those people wanting to use high elf as a stam sork, nope. All right, so let's get to these, right? Specific changes. Hardier. Okay. Specific changes. I know it took a while to get here, right? The developer statements below are presented to give insight into our thought processes when deciding how to represent Tamriel's races in the ESO. Actual denizens of Tamriel, if we could, whatever, man. Let's continue. So it says, if we could talk to them, might debate about these characterizations. The first portion of each passive is how it works in its current state, while the latter are the upcoming changes, if there are any. All right, high elf. So you have no changes. Increases experience gain in destruction staff skill line by 15%. I doubt they'll make any changes to the original one. Spell charge, 9% magical recovery. Spell recharge. So there's been a change. Restore 575 magic or stamina based on whichever is higher. Okay. After activating a class ability. Okay. So that's good, because you activate a class ability. Let's say your Stam Sork, you activate Hurricane, you're getting this. So on the defensive, it works. Yeah, that's good. This effect can occur once every 6 seconds. I just want you guys to think of my initial suggestions to balance racial classes and allow players to be able to choose from a variety, as opposed to now just choose Argonian for this. If you're a Nightblade, choose this, right? If you're Stam Sork, choose this. All right. Undoubtedly that will happen, because I don't think they've made any changes that. But anyway, let's continue. So that's good. That's good. It's flat. I see what they're doing, right? They originally went away from. They want to go away from percentages, and it's not only to when it comes to max health, but other things, which is fine. And if you're Stam Sork and you use Hurricane, you're getting 575 stamina back. And it can last for 6 seconds. Now, that'd be great if it was 4 seconds to go in line with the Constitution passive. If you're using heavy, it should be just the same way they have shields that last for 6 seconds. All shields last 6 seconds. They should do the same thing here. Reduces damage taken by 5% while you're using an ability with a cast or channel time. While you're using an ability with a cast or channel time. Wow. So if you are a Templar, Magica Templar, or Stamina Templar, you use this ability. You also get 8% reduction in damage received. Right? Is it damage taken? I don't know. You stack this, so that's 13%. Nah, not bad, not bad. Gift of Magnus, 10% max Magica. So this flat, they go into this flat, so it's 2K. All right. Elemental Talent, Fire, Shock, Ice, increases spell damage by 253. Wow, that's a major buff. Wow, that's a major buff. That's a major buff because, yeah, that's a major buff, man. Because you had a lot of Magic classes that, well, Sorks would choose this, but now they're getting an upfront 258. I would take that over, because let's say you might have one skill that's fire, then you have one skill that's shock, one skill that's ice, and you're getting that 4% on these various skills. But if you just apply a flat damage buff to everything, then you don't really have to worry about that. Wow. I think you'll this is a good, it's a good change. It's a buff. I'm in favor of buffs. Do we read what these guys are saying? I don't really care, man. Do I? I don't. They're talking about the lore. So let's continue. Now this is where everyone wants to get to, right? and it's a long drawn out thing, right? Argonians by nature resilient creatures adapting to their surroundings and accumulating themselves to the environment. Their ability to shrug off potent disease makes them harder to take down, and their connection with the Hist empowers their will for life. Their bonus to healing done makes them gifted at healing themselves or their allies, while their resource return after drinking a potion helps them stay in the fight. Regardless of their role, their ability to recuperate and get back into the fray is something to respect. Now let's see the reason. So they gave you the lore. Let's see the reason. Previously, Argonians offered far too many stats that they were mathematically twice as good as some races. Okay. So I guess that 3% is twice as good as a high elf, a dark elf when it comes to max magicka. This retracted from the unique feeling we wanted each race to have, since their bonuses were all over the place. I don't know what that means. Their bonuses were geared towards health and being rugged. Now they should have more of some stats that make them stand out a bit, while they have less in other areas that weren't in line with that vision. Okay, keep this in mind, right? Think about that. And where did they say? Their goal is to buff, not to decrease. It was something. It said it's someplace here. I forget where it was, but they said their overall goal is to improve diversity. I forget where. If you guys find it, but this contradicts what they just said. Their overall goal is to improve this, but they didn't do it. But let's go. This didn't change. Resourceful, gain 3% max magicka and restore 4,620 health, magicka, and stamina when you drink a potion. So now it's been changed to increase your max magicka. They're now going to flat. Okay. That's a nerf, but if everyone's getting a flat change when you just go across the board, it's fine. They want to now, I guess, decrease max health and max stam, but if you're in a massive group, like those things, you can just you can build for max health. That's what you're building for. Like the more the players that want to min max, those are the skilled outnumbered players. So essentially that's what you're doing, right? But I get it. Increase your max magicka by 1,000. So now everything's 3,600. So you've lost 1,020. You lost 1,020 health, magicka, and stamina. That's fine, man. Argonians resistance. So now the max health, and this is one of the reasons why I went with this, right? You get this resistance to poison and disease. So it increases your max health by 1k and your disease resistance by 2310. I'm sorry. You are immune to disease status effect. So you don't get the poison resistance anymore. Okay. So that was a nerf. Quick to mend, healing done, and healing received. So it's 5%. It's now changed to life mender. Increases your healing done by 4%. People will still use Argonians because the majority of players don't focus on the fact that like that healing portion and the resistances. They don't focus on that. They focus on the health and the potion passive, which is it'll be fine. I think everyone will be fine. I don't see it as a big deal. So let's look at Wood Elf. So like I said, I don't think like this first portion of it they'll change because this applies to the lore. So you have I don't know, you freeze. I don't know how to pronounce that, man. Maybe Yeah, I could look it up and see if there's a pronunciation or something. Oh shit. I'm stupid. How do you pronounce that? Whatever. Screw it. So 21% stamina recovery. So now increases your stamina recovery by. This is good. This is good. But it's still a nerf. I don't know why, but they want to go to flat numbers, so which is fine. Resist affliction, 6% max stam, and 1485 poison and disease resistance. So now they go to 2K here, and they still, so they get rid of the disease and give you poison. So Argonians have the disease resistance, and what else? Have poison. Stealthy, reduce detection radius by 3 meters and increase damage done in stealth by 10%. So now it's changed to Hunter's Eye. Increases your stealth detection radius by 3 meters. Okay. I can see that. After you roll dodge, you gain 20% movement speed for 3 seconds. Okay. This is a stack. Wow. Okay. Increase movement speed. You use this as swift. You dodge roll with a bow. You get 50% movement speed. Nice. And it's always active. That's great. I think they've addressed some of the issues some of the concerns I stated in the beginning. I don't know. I don't care why they changed it, but it's fine. Breton. Gift of Magnus. I really like this class. I use it quite often on my Magicka builds. 10% max magic increases your max Magicka by 2k flat. Again, spell resistance. 3960 spell resistance. Now it's changed to 2310 spell resistance and 100k Magicka recovery. Okay. This is good. This is good. Magicka Mastery, 3% Magicka cost reduction. Reduces the magic cost of your abilities by 7%. Wow. This is a buff. This is really good, man. You go with Seducer here. So if you use Seducer on this, along with the Magicka cost of your abilities, right? So if you go Seducer here, or I mean, this is primarily a Magicka class, but if you wanted to play Stam, you know, you still get the reduction, because especially if, let's say you're a DK, and the majority of your issues, because if you're a Stam DK, like you use Igneous, you use hardened armor, you use all these things to keep you alive when you're stamina. So this can kind of work out, because it's reducing these Magicka cost abilities, which cost a lot. And DKs also have this kind of resistance, so you can stack it heavily into you know, physical resistance, and not really put anything into Magicka, because DKs get that. I mean, if you wanted to, you could probably do that. This is a buff, man. This overall, I think it's a great change for Breton. I like that. They said they were going away from percent changes, yet not everything went away from. I think if you do it, it should be across the board. Dark Elf increases. They won't change that. Dynamic. 6% max magic and max stamina and magic increases your max stamina and magicka by 1250. Okay. Resist flame, max magicka. Wow, 3% max magicka. I'm tired now. And 2079 flame resistance, right? Increases your max magicka by 600. your flame resistance by 2310. So that's a buff, and you're immune to burning status effects. Okay. Destructive ancestry, 7% flame damage and 2% frost shock damage. So what did they do? Increase your weapon and spell damage by... Wow. Ruination, right? Wow. That is nice. That is nice. Wow. This is nice, man. Increase your weapon and spell damage by 258. I mean, now they're like, damage is, to me, I think damage is through the roof. But you know, if you go with the high elf, which they increased by 258, and now this, so and this is a hybrid setup, right? You can play this, you can use this for magic and stam. This is good. This is good. This is really good. You see a lot of DKs. DKs use this class. This is good, man. Really good. I like this. I mean, I don't like it in the effect that, you know, you're still giving Stam that massive amount of damage. Magicka really doesn't rely so much on damage. They rely on max stats. But anyway, Imperial, tough, 12% max health, increases your max health by 2k. Conditioning, 10% max stamina. So now it's Imperial Metal, increases your max stamina by 2k. Red Diamond, remember what I said about this? Let's see if they made some changes. 10% chance on melee attack to heal for 6% of max health. So it's changed when you deal direct damage. Again, if you're outnumbered, you having to attack to get this benefit is not beneficial to you. Reduces the cost of your block and bash ability by 5%. That's good. It's always active. When you deal direct damage, you have a 50% chance to heal. I know it can apply to anything, but dots? The most underused class here. Khajiit. Nimble, 20% health recovery and 10% stamina recovery. Robustness. Okay, robustness. Sounds so weird. Increases your health recovery by 100 and your stamina and magic recovery by 75%. Does that make any sense? Okay, so you get 10% stamina recovery, but now, so your stamina and magic recovery by 75. Does that make any sense? But if you go to, because they want to have some kind of equality, right? This is increased by 100. I don't get it. It's like, it just doesn't make any sense. If I were the developers and you really want to do this, I would. And who got the 258 Magicka recovery? Where is it at? Where are these guys at? Where are you guys at? The Breton. No. What else? Here we go. So this is 21%. They went to 258. Right? So wouldn't this be 129? Right? If you just did, it'll be like 120 something. Right? But then you go down to Khajiit, which has 10% stamina recovery. Wouldn't this be Oh, I see. They split it in half. Okay. That makes no sense. Alright, let's continue. Stealthy reduces detection radius by 3 meters, increases damage from stealth by 10%. Lunar Blessings. Increases your max health, magic, and stamina by 750. Nice. Nice. This is a buff. This is good. I like it. Now, if they made this, if they really, so if they go in this flat way, because look, this should be by like 2K. So if it's 10%, this should be. I get it. That's good. Carnage, increase weapon critical chances by 8%. Okay. Feline Ambush. Increases your weapon and spell critical chances by 8%. Reduces your detection radius and stealth by 5 meters. Okay. Weapon and spell critical. Oof. You might have some Sorks rocking this. Not bad. Alright, Nord. Stalworth, max stam, 6% max stam, 20% health recovery, increasing your max stam by 15. When you take damage, you gain 5 ultimate. What? You already have a lot of Stamdens rocking this. You have some Nightblades that will ultimately come to this as well. But the 10 seconds, it should be, like I said, everything should be 4 seconds. Like all of these, if you take damage, should go down to 4 seconds. It'll speed up the gameplay, increase damage, and you know, players who are more active and they'll benefit from this. But it's fine. Resist Frost, 9% max health. 2K cold resistance, increase your max health by 1,000 and your cold resistance by 2330. They buffed. This is good. Got a lot of these motherfuckers out here with these stabs just permafrosting the shit out of you. It's crazy. Rugged, 6% damage reduction, increases your physical and spell reduction. Ooh. Let's think about this. This is not bad. It's not bad at all. But correct me if I'm wrong. Bleeds disregard resistances, right? They just bypass them, but there's damage mitigation also applied to bleeds. But this physical and spell resistance can apply to a lot more. You know, you have a lot of players that use bleeds, but you can get hit with massive damage. This is going to reduce that. It could be from spell. It could be from physical. It's good. I like it. Nice change. Orc. All right. Brawny. 6% max health and stamina. Increases your max health and stamina by 500. I don't get that. Hold on. It's kind of confused. Wouldn't it be, if it was 4.5%, it would be 500? Shouldn't this be like shouldn't this be 600? Because they changed the 9% to 1,000. Unflinching, healing received by 5% and 20% health recovery. Increases your healing received by 4%. Okay. When you deal damage with a weapon ability, restore 380 health and stamina. You can see a lot of DKs using this, but again, and this can occur every 4 seconds. What? Hold on. What? So a DK, when you use a magicka, when you use flame or poison, they get back, what, 580? So that's what, 960? That's better than the Constitution passive. So then you use heavy. I mean, this might be really good, man. You could rock heavy and just have crazy amount of stam return. But again, I think it should be, if they made this when you take damage, then it would stack with Constitution, and you would get it back to where it was. That would be great. I mean, they're smart enough to not make it magicka. They did health and stamina, which is fine. Swift Warrior, that's a good passive, man. 4% melee attack, 12% sprint cost reduction, 10% sprint speed increase, right? Increase your weapon damage by 258. 258. Let's see. I don't get this. So you had the 7% flame damage. It's 258. Let's remember 7. These two wouldn't amount to 258, right? But then this is 4%, and it's anyway. Reduces the cost of your sprint ability by 12%. Increase your movement speed by while sprinting by 10%. Okay. Red Guard, brother from another mother, man. I really like Red Guard. I used to use it a lot until they nerfed it, but it's still dear to my heart, man. I really like this. Acceleration. 9% stamina recovery. Exhilaration, I'm sorry. Changes to martial training, right? There. Reduces the cost of your, like, who did this? You went from exhilaration to martial training. I don't know. Reduces the cost of your weapon abilities by 8%. What? That is nice. Weapon abilities, though. Weapon abilities. Dual wield? Anyone? Dual wield? It pretty much costs shit, but it reduces it. Nice. Dizzy swing. Okay. Conditioning, 10% max stamina. Increases your max stamina by 2k. Adrenaline rush. When you deal damage with a melee attack, you restore blah blah blah. 792 stamina. It used to be really good, man. They nerfed it. This effect can occur once every 5 seconds. It used to be every 3 seconds. When you deal direct, it should be 4 seconds. Like, make everything universal, man. Make it 4 seconds for these abilities. When you deal direct damage, you restore 950 stamina. Nice. This effect can occur once every 5 seconds. Okay, so that was a slight buff. All right. As a closing note, we want to reiterate that all players will have a refund of all of their characters' racial passes if they've spent any. Okay, so remember to reallocate any points into these on your characters once the changes go live. We'll also be granting 1 free race change per account. Oh my God. I think they're fine. I think these changes are fine. And some of what I said in the beginning in terms of make these passives active, like they've done some of that. I like the fact that high elf is now you can use stamina can now use this this class. I thought this has been brought in line with other things, but players will still use it because of this potion passive. Not so much the health, and a lot of players will disregard the fact that disease, which goes with major defile, you know, anyway, because incap is a major issue. Stealthy has been changed. I like these changes, man. I like them. It'll take some time to get used to it, but their overall goal was to nerf Argonians and kind of prevent power creep when it comes to min-max builds. And that applies to players such as myself, players who are outnumbered, and it doesn't really apply to the vast majority of players who group up, which they could care less about any of these changes, right? They see bills, they put them on, and they go to town on you. I'll say this again, I think they need to do an update that strictly focuses on performance and you know, what are the best times to play this game, because of like the peak times and the ping going through the roof. But anyway, I think these changes are good. They'll bring some balance to the force. But this whole creep in terms of just damage, I'm noticing this, and you have to really take that into account. Yes, you have a lot of players using magic at the moment, but the moment they start to realize that, you know, they can burst players on stam, and stam is a little bit more difficult to play. It's harder to play than Magicka. Then you'll see this mass influx of players who just, you know, I'm glad they made like Vet DSA and Black Rose Prison difficult to complete, because, you know, those weapons do overperform and they're tailored to players who can actually get them. Anyway, hopefully this was informative and I gave my opinions about, you know, these changes. And these are in fact my opinions. You can have opinions as well. It's not written in stone. So like I said, it's my opinion. You can have those as well. We can have disagreements. Anyway, I'm out.